The SS Comet was a steamship that operated on the Great Lakes. The Comet was owned by Dean Richmond of New York Central Railway Company. The Comet's port of registry was Cleveland, Ohio, and she was built by Peck and Masters of Cleveland, Ohio. She was finished on 1857. The Comet had a tonnage of 744 tons. She had a length of 181 feet, a beam of 29 feet, a depth of 12.33 feet, and for propulsion she had a direct-acting vertical engine with propeller, and she had a crew of about 19. Being a wooden propeller ship, the Comet, along with her sister ship, the Rocket, was launched on 1857 by Peck and Masters of Cleveland, Ohio, again. Her direct-acting vertical engine was manufactured by the Cayuga Steam Furnace of Cleveland. The Comet was originally built as a pure workhorse upon the Great Lakes. Her upper deck cabins for passenger accommodations were not added, however, until the winter layup of 1859 to 1860. Throughout her years of service, the Comet went through a variety of owners. She was first owned by Dean Richmond, and her last owners were W. M. Hanna and George W. Chapin of Cleveland. The Comet was involved in a series of maritime accidents, however, upon the Great Lakes, and this was prior to her final sinking, of course. She sank another boat in a collision on Lake Erie. She was run aground on a reef off Port Washington, Wisconsin, in Lake Michigan in 1865. And on August 1869, she actually rammed and sank the sidewheeler Silver Spray. The Comet also sank for the first time in 1869 after a collision with Hunter below Detroit, Michigan. Both of the vessels sank, but were raised and returned to their service later on. On August 23, 1875, the Comet cleared Duluth, Minnesota, and she was bound for Buffalo, New York, with a few intermediate stops on Lake Superior on the way. After she had rounded Whitefish Point on a clear, starlit night at about 8:05 p.m. of August 26th of August 1875, the Comet was heading on the usual southeastern course to Point Iroquois Light. The Comet's lookout spotted a white light in the dusk right on their course. 15 minutes later, after the lookout spotted a red light, Captain Dugat altered the course a point to port, heading southeast, half south. Just moments later, the green lights of an approaching vessel also appeared. When Captain Dugat realized he had swung across the bow of a steamer, he blew one blast on the whistle and ordered a hard turn. However, it was too late. Shipwreck historian Janice Jarrett reported that the Canadian steamer Manitoba struck the Comet stem on about 20 feet forward the stern on the port side, right down the water's edge. The Toronto Globe reported an eyewitness account that the Comet's hull parted and sank almost immediately after the collision. The upper works crumbled and sank within 1 minute. 2 men were crushed when the steamers collided immediately. 1 man was hanging from a window sash on the Manitoba. He lost his grip and was heard exclaiming, "Oh Lord, I am gone," as the suction of the wreck pulled him under. 10 men, including those below deck, did not survive. 6 men jumped from the wreck to the decks of the Manitoba, whose boats later picked up 4 more survivors as well. Captain Dugat, the master, 2 shipmates, 2 wheelsmen, 1 fireman, 1 lookout, and 1 porter survived. The Manitoba made every effort to save everyone it could possibly find. She took the rescued to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, where they were given passage to Cleveland. The United States Maritime investigation absolved the Comet's captain, Captain Dugat, of any blame for the collision in 1876. The Canadians also absolved the Manitoba's captain, Captain Sims, of any blame. The comet was first dubbed a true treasure ship by the shipwreck historian Frederick Stonehouse in 1973. When the comet sank, her vessel was valued at $45,000 and the cargo at $50,000. The Sioux Evening News of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan announced in 1980 that the comet was the only known treasure ship on the bottom of the lake of Lake Superior. This was when interviewing Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society spokesman Tom Farnquist. The comet carried over 500 tons of pig iron, some copper ore, 54 sacks of wool, and 70 tons of Montana silver ore picked up at Duluth and consigned to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There were efforts to salvage the comet's cargo, but they failed in 1876, and again in 1938 when the wreck could not be found. Lastly, the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society in the 1980s greatly filmed and salvaged the comet. And that is the story of the SS Comet that sank in Lake Superior. I know there's been a few other vessels with the name SS Comet, but this one being the treasure ship is definitely unique. And my goodness, what a horrific thing, especially for that poor man that was hanging from the window sash on the Manitoba, and then losing his grip and being heard screaming for his life, "Oh Lord, I am gone," as the suction of the comet is going under. I mean, what a terrifying thing, your last few minutes unable to reach the surface and being pulled down. That's my heart goes out to him, and not only him, but the other 10 men, or 9 men, sorry, if he's the 10th, who died as well, being crushed instantly, being crushed in the collision instantly, but also being trapped down there as the ship is going down. With how fast you hear these ships so often sink, especially the wooden hulled ships, they don't stay on the surface for very long. And yeah, my heart goes out to these men and their unfortunate accident, disaster. But I definitely know this ship, at least on YouTube, has done. Maybe a few other channels have done it. I definitely wanted to do it. It was one that I've always found curious and interesting, but not a super long one, but definitely one worth telling. And tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. I could only find the one photo of it. I don't know if maybe there's some historical archives that have other pictures of the comet, but as far as what I could find, that's the only known photo I could find. So if you guys have other fun, interesting facts or things I may have missed, definitely let me know in the comments below. But however, that will do it for today's episode on Songs of the Great Lakes. I hope you all are having a wonderful day, night, evening, whichever, and until next time, God bless you all.